always talking down.
He's got the South Side.
Like, why you know my name, man? Like, I don't speak on you.
Hey, why you people wanna hate though? Yeah, I see the hate up in your face. I'ma keep on being real, and be myself and then I chill. Why do people wanna hate though? Yeah, I see the hate up in your face. Yeah, I'ma keep on being real, yeah, and be myself and then I chill. Hey, how y'all doing today? This is your boy Corona Cola, y'all.
Heavy Too Smooth.
And we're up here with Dr. Kennedy today. How you doing today, sir?
I'm all right. How about you?
Man, I'm doing good.
Blessed.
I hope everybody listening to us is doing fine too.
Yes, sir. We're doing pretty good. What you got on the agenda today for us, sir? I know you got something good to talk about.
Well, I thought to generally chat. I hope everybody's fall is going well. The Gamecocks are struggling a little bit, but hopefully they will turn it around.
Yeah, we gonna get right.
Following the NFL and some of the teams are struggling. Our Panthers are not doing as well as they should. But talking about health, this is the fall, so I kind of thought that I would encourage everybody to get their flu shots, and we'll talk about adult vaccinations. Generally, this is the time of the year when the flu kind of kicks up. Even though people focus on the elderly, in actual fact, everybody who is 6 months and older should consider, or their parents should consider, having them get a flu shot. And once you get the flu shot, when you get the flu, it's milder. Most of the time, it prevents you from getting it. And when you get it, you are less likely to be found in hospital. Just in case people didn't know, South Carolina has already recorded its first flu death for this year. In addition to that, if there are seniors listening to us here, there are other vaccines that as seniors we should pay attention to. COVID boosters are back. In addition to that, the shingles that everybody who is 50 and over should consider. There is pneumonia vaccine that people who are 19 to 64 should consider. And when people are pregnant, they should also look to get some vaccines, including some for tetanus and other things. Recently, they've approved measles, mumps, and rubella. So the general point is don't take notes, but even as adults, immunizations are very important. It's not just for children. So let us try and get these if we can get them and stay healthy.
I can't take the flu shot. Every time I take one, I get sick.
Yeah, and actually,
I can't take it, man.
I hear that a lot. But having said that, of course, there are a few people who genuinely shouldn't be taking flu shots. If the last time you had the flu shot, you had an anaphylactic reaction, or you had, but these days they make them so well that the reactions that people talk about are extremely rare. And it is said that even those who say that, oh, they are allergic to egg and other things, these days they make them in such a way that it is safe to give them. Once you get them, I know that there are people who say, but doc, when I get the flu shot, I still get the flu. That may be true, but we have very reliable data that show that even if you get the flu after getting the flu shot, your infection is milder, you are less likely to end up in hospital, and it's less likely to lead to death. So all in all, flu shots are very reliable, and you should discuss with your physician if you have any concerns, and most of the time your physician should be able to address those concerns so you can go ahead and get your flu shot. But that's a very good question.
What about with the spike in COVID, y'all back on the COVID vaccines too?
Yes, they have approved a new COVID vaccine, and we are encouraging people to get it, even though it is approved for the general public. I think that the elderly should be encouraged more strongly to get it, because as you can recall, when COVID was here the last time, the people who took the brunt of the COVID thing were the elderly. So those who are 65 and older, I would more strongly encourage them. If you are below that age, you should also consider if you have other things like, diabetes and COPD. Those things make you not very strong, or you have cancer and those kind of things. So if you get sick, then it becomes more serious. So we encourage those people. So I think we stratify based on age, just like the flu shot. The flu shot, if an 18-year-old or a 15-year-old, a young man or a young woman is a little reluctant to get it, I'm concerned, but I'm not as worried as if a 70-year-old said, I don't want to get the flu shot. Because if they get the flu, the consequences are more dire.
So I got another question.
Yes,
can you get the flu shot and the COVID shot at the same time?
Yeah, actually you can. And if you are concerned, they can be staggered, but you can actually get them at the same time.
I heard they had a medication for COVID. They said they had it before, but I ain't never had it.
They do. They do knock it about you quick.
Actually, there are a lot of medications for COVID. I actually think that, looking back, I think maybe one of the places where we as the medical profession dropped the ball when COVID first came was, if you had a mild case, people just said, oh, go sit at home for 1 week and we hope you are fine. I think there were a lot of medications that ought to be offered, and people like me even offered it even though there were no formal recommendations for it. Steroids, for example, helped quite a few people. There were IV infusions, antibodies, that helped a lot of people. Some of it was given by injection, some of it was given by infusion. There were vitamins like vitamin D and zinc. There were things like, what do they call it? Drinking lots of fluid, resting, trying to be active. All those things helped. And actually, for a long time, something like Zithromax helped. But the particular medication that you are now talking about is Paxlovid. Paxlovid is a combination of two medicines. It's 2 tablets of one type and 1 tablet of one. And they've made it into a package. So you give the person 2 in the morning and then 2 in the afternoon. So it is for 5 days, So they give it to you for 5 days, and they give you a package that is made up of 30 of them, and you do quite well. You do quite well.
So, well, a person with COPD, well, I got COPD. You saying it'll affect me more if I don't get the shot?
Yes. And the reason is that if you recall, COPD already, you're struggling to breathe. You see that a lot of people are on oxygen. They get frequent infections, So the end result of it is that if you end up getting something like flu or COVID or pneumonia, you are at more risk, because if you think about it, all these things focus on your lungs, and COPD focuses on your lungs. So your lungs are already not in tip-top shape, which is why sometimes you need oxygen in order to breathe. That's why they wheeze often, So under those circumstances, it is not a good idea to put yourself at risk. That is why we generally encourage people like that to get that. It's like diabetes. If you have diabetes, you have to be careful not to miss these vaccines, because diabetes generally reduces your immune system or your defenses against diseases. So once you get any illness, it is more serious if you have diabetes.
What is the best medicine for COPD? What is a good medicine?
It depends. COPD really is an amalgam of diseases, but they basically, some have emphysema, some have chronic asthma, some have chronic bronchitis. So
mine have chronic bronchitis.
Okay, so yours is chronic bronchitis. So you, for example, they will give you an inhaler that is normally a combination of a long-acting beta-2 agonist, plus a steroid, the two of them taken
I don't
together.
take the steroids like that because I ain't trying to get swole.
Precisely. So in addition to that, they also have medications that reduce secretions. And you can go into tiers and tiers of the medication based on how bad your disease is. And of course, there are people who also have to take oxygen because when they take oxygen, it is shown that it improves their symptoms and also increases their life expectancy. Of course, even that late, they think that if you stop smoking, it helps. There are people who are very sick and they are still trying to smoke. So if you stop the smoking, it helps. If there is kind of exercises, if you go through those exercises and you get more fit, you do much better with the COPD. There's actually surgery that can remove part of the lungs that they consider redundant, and the rest of it can then function better. So there are all kinds of things. And of course, when you get an acute exacerbation, then we give you a high dose of steroids, we give you antibiotics, sometimes you end up being put in the hospital. So there is a lot of variation in the medication and duration of medication that we give for COPD.
So what's been going on in the health world lately?
Some of it is what we've been talking about. We've kind of obviously been talking about things like COVID and flu, but we're still worrying about drug overdoses, substance misuse. And a lot of people maybe may have missed the news, but in South Carolina between 2020 and 2021, the deaths from drug overdoses went up by about 25%, from about 1,730 something to a little over 200, around 2,100. So in other words, went up by 25%. But the interesting thing is that while this was happening, fentanyl overdose deaths went up by 35%. It means that the fentanyl is not doing, it's not good. So basically, this should be a crisis. In other words, more people are actually dying from these overdoses than even motor vehicle accidents.
That's crazy.
So this is something that we should really all be focused on and trying as much as we can to reduce. These people who are dying are our friends, they are our brothers, they are people we know, they are in our neighborhoods, and most of them are young, which means the future of our community is at risk. So all of us need to be encouraging young people to find hope and meaning in their lives so that they do not think that drugs are the answer to whatever problems they have. And some do have very good problems or genuine problems. There was a time when people say, and they are right, that when the drug abuse problem was mainly in the black community, people said it was a criminal problem. And then once it went into the white middle class, it became a health problem. But be it as it may, it is here, and we all ought to be working together to do the best we can to help those who have this problem so that our communities can stop the pain that a lot of families suffer from this disease.
I got a question for you.
Yes,
Because you're a doctor. Do you think marijuana a drug?
Is that what?
Do you think marijuana a drug?
There are people who have benefits from marijuana, but on balance, I wouldn't encourage anybody to start taking it because there are studies that have shown, when you go to places like, Colorado and what do they call California, where it's been used for a longer time, it's been associated with things like higher rates of motor vehicle accidents, and actually something like schizophrenia, for example, even though it runs in families and the environmental factors, have been shown that people who use marijuana tend to have it at a higher rate than others. So it is not a completely safe drug. Having said that, of course, some people derive some medicinal benefit from it. But to be fair, though,
I
a
think
lot
it's the
of
safest drug
a lot
ever.
of medications have side effects. You know, medicines are basically poisons, and whenever your doctor is giving it to you, it is a careful balance between the benefits that you're going to get from the medication and the risk that are attendant to taking the medicine. And to be fair, there are people who say, and they have a point, that maybe something like alcohol may be more dangerous than marijuana sometimes when you look at the effects that we have. So, can it benefit some people? Yes, it can, but it is a dangerous medicine. So, anybody who takes it with the idea that it's completely safe is making a mistake.
So how does it impair you? You said motor vehicle accident.
Well, I mean, you know, it has a lot of effects, and one of the reasons why people like it is that it gives you a high a little bit, you know. And then when you get a high and you feel good, you tend to overestimate your abilities, you know. You tend to think, oh, when I'm trying to beat somebody to the corner, I can do that better, you know. A lot of people think that once they are under the influence, they even drive better, which is not true. So in effect, it affects your judgment, you know. It affects your judgment.
A lot of people say all the
your ability, there you go, and your ability to, what do they call it, perform, you know. So that's why it's not a good.
I see. I don't do that. So I'm on the other end of the spectrum.
That's all right. We know you are just asking questions for others.
But
and of course, one of the things that is that medications like that
real
lead to more irresponsible sexual behaviors, you know. Then it leads to spreading STDs, you know, which are not good. They have a lot of effects, you know. So all those are things that you should consider. And of course, there is also the fact that despite the fact that some states allow you to use marijuana, it is also true that actual fact, there are federal standards about, for example, getting jobs. And if you go and they test you and you are positive, it means that there are a lot of jobs you are not eligible for, you know. Like, you know, they advertise, they want policemen, they want people for correctional facility, they want this. You go and they test you and you are positive, you're done.
I think the police, they be getting blowed out there in Colorado. I think the police smoke out there.
Well, I'm sure some of them do it, but you know, the 11th commandment is thou shalt not be found out. So, if you're trying to get in there, you can't go and make the argument that, boss, I know some people in the organization do it already, you know.
So I never could. If it's a bad drug, isn't marijuana used for medicinal use too?
Oh, I just said that. It's used for medicinal use, but you know, though, that penicillin can kill you.
You get pulled to Colorado more than 2 hours. Now, you know
penicillin can kill you. You know that. A lot of medications, and there are a lot of medicines that if you took too much of it will harm you too. So I'm just saying that, like every medicine, it has risk and benefits.
Yeah, but weed, you can't overdose on weed. You can smoke a whole ounce in a day. You ain't gonna overdose on weed. That's the only thing you cannot overdose on.
But that's the problem.
Like cocaine, you might have a heart attack. Weed, you gonna smoke all day, you ain't gonna overdose. You might go to sleep, wake up hungry. But like, you can't overdose on marijuana.
Yeah, but that's the point though. Eventually, you know, it affects your judgment and your behavior, you know.
I don't smoke weed neither though. I done had my share though. That's how I know you can't OD. You can try, but you can't.
You try hard enough, you will get there. Don't tempt fate, you know. Back home they say that if you keep opening the eyes of a dead person, you see a ghost.
Right.
So let's be careful.
True.
Hit you with one right there, didn't he?
That was a good one. Shoot, what the hell now, man? None of that.
I mean, I got question. Y'all got any clinics or anything like right now, like the health?
Go ahead. I was for that. I ain't gonna lie. I did for that same question he about to ask.
Well, the clinic,
Like, no, do y'all have clinics like that out there reaching out to the communities? Because I can't talk about my job, but the job that I work with now, that's one of the things they do.
there are actually organizations here that work with the community. For example, the place I work is Chemec Dedicated Senior Care. We do quite a bit of work among seniors. We do events, you know. Friday the 13th, for example, we're going to have an event there that will be well attended. Yesterday, I attended a meeting of South Carolina OAU, Organization of African Unity, where we had a group of men, Dr. Goldman, who is a very renowned gastroenterologist here, very good historian, Tona Okey, retired Lieutenant Colonel Johnson, and others, Nana Preku, who comes from Africa, come discuss things like Pan-Africanism in the development of the black experience, things like chieftaincy and African traditions in our development. We discussed a lot of history. And actually, one of the things we talked about at the end was how to do more effective outreach to the black community. For example, things like drug overdose, talk to young people, some of who are growing up in single parent homes, you know, so that we can give them encouragement, give them career guidance. You know, it is helpful to see successful blacks. I think sometimes we hear too much bad news about the black community. So it is important for the benefit of our young people to put in front of them examples of those who have been able to make it, and to encourage them and to tell them that, you know, you too can do it. I actually had a very interesting conversation with my son, who graduated from USC and is now at MUSC studying medicine, you know. And he used to tell me, he says, Dad, all my classes, all the other folks there are white. And I'm like, son, you're doing chemistry and biochemistry and calculus. You know?
Yeah.
So, but I said, but you should use that as fuel, that God has put you where you are. So look back and pull more black kids to where you are. You know, in other words, when they see you, they feel like, okay, this is possible, you know. And it is, examples are powerful, because I have two sons. They are both in medical school. Why? Because they got up every morning and they saw me put on my white coat and go to work. So by the time they got to university, in their minds, being a doctor wasn't an esoteric idea. It was something they knew they could do. You know, I took them with me to the hospital. They met other black doctors, you know. So my point is that if we have black young men and women around here who sometimes, through no fault of theirs, there's no father at home, the neighborhood there, you know, there's a lot of gang banging and other things, it is helpful to see if it is possible to organize interactions between them and some of us who, by God's grace, have done a little better, so that we can tell them, you too can do well. Just stay the course and do the right thing and work hard. We talked a lot about that.
Y'all talk to kids in elementary school, y'all just, how y'all try to get the word out about becoming a doctor or just the health field?
Basically, it is whoever in the community is trying to do something that we can help. So obviously, before people get to wanting to be doctors, they have to get to the USC and other colleges. And so you need to reach beneath them and get to the kids in elementary school and high school and other things. So, but I tell you here that if, just like I'm here talking, anybody has a high school class, you know, and you say, oh, what we're trying to do a career day, doc, can you come and talk to them? I'm very happy to come and talk to them. You're trying to give them a sense of history, and you say, can you come talk to them about Africa? I'll be very happy to go talk to them about it.
Hey, I got one question.
Yes.
My name is DJSurplusVision.com, and I'm in here with a doctor from Africa. Do you feel like Africa kind of let the American black down in the sense that they never really try to come back to the United States and take their people back to Africa?
That's a very big question, and actually we discussed that yesterday. Let me tell you something. I think that Africans who don't appreciate black Americans are misinformed. The reason I say that is that I know that black Americans didn't come here of their own free will. They came in bondage through the Middle Passage. Back home, I come 30 minutes away from the castle where Michelle Obama visited and went to cry. I'm telling you, you walk through this dark passage and all of a sudden there is light. And when you look down, there is the Atlantic Ocean. And there are the boats that were going to take them away from home. So this was a very harsh experience. And yet, in spite of that, some of them led slave rebellions. They did whatever they did. They managed to survive. But more to the point, their struggle for freedom and emancipation has made the whole world better. No other group of people have made a more significant contribution to the cause of freedom than black Americans or blacks in the diaspora, including in the Caribbean. I mean, imagine Haiti's War of Independence in 1801, led by Louverture. That was before the Civil War. Can you imagine what impact it had on other blacks in North America and the rest of the world? And that was not even the first. The first significant slave rebellion occurred in the 7th century in Basra, current-day Iraq. So our people have always fought for their freedom. And I agree with you that there ought to be more collaboration. Not only that, even for the independence of black Africa. Most people don't understand it. The signal crystallizing event was the 5th Pan-African Congress that was held in Manchester in 1945. The rapporteurs were Kwame Nkrumah and then a black American gentleman. I'm just free associating, so I'm blanking up on his name. The two of them were the rapporteurs of the conference. And after that, when Nkrumah went on to become Prime Minister of Ghana, he had him George Padmore. The gentleman is George Padmore. He had him become the first director of the African Affairs Bureau in Ghana's Ministry of Foreign Affairs to help other African countries become independent, because he felt that George Padmore understood the black experience and the dialectics of Pan-Africanism. So I say it here that, and even in the independence of South Africa, black Americans here were very significant in turning public opinion in the United States government, helping the government to apply pressure that led to whatever happened. So I say that a lot has been done, and we need to continue to work together to lift all of us in the diaspora, as well as to inspire the continent back home, so that it will be the continent, the mother of all continents, and radiate and give birth to the success that it can be. And you know, people like Marcus Garvey and others went back to Africa to help. You know, a lot of professors. This lady who won the Nobel Prize, I've forgotten her name, in North Carolina, who died a few years ago. He went to teach at the University of Ghana. So there's been a lot of significant contributions made by black Americans. I think when you say black Africa has not come to claim its own, I think sometimes it's a matter of strength. You know, when Napoleon was ruling the world, the first significant blow to Napoleon's empire was given to him by the Haitian army, led by a black general, Louverture.
All right, I'm behind the camera, but I'm coming back. People, as y'all saw me step in for my man Corona Corleone, talking with Dr. Kennedy, my man Heavy Too Smooth, and we've talked about quite a bit. But we were, before we lost power, let's be honest, we were talking about veterans, and I was talking about a lot of the daily freedoms and everything that we enjoy. Like I said, it wouldn't be if we didn't have those that were willing to sacrifice their lives, put their lives on the line. There's a saying that we do more at 6 o'clock in the morning than most do in a day. And it's a true fact. Y'all don't realize how much is actually done. A lot of people really, truly don't realize what sacrifices are being made to allow you to get up in the morning and go there. Drug dealers go dealing drugs, going to school, people getting medicine, people committing crime, robbing banks and things. Honestly, we don't want those negative things, but those things are also allowed because of what veterans do. So I do say if you see a veteran out there, you know, you don't have to have a whole conversation with them, but take the time out, at least thank them for the service. If you see them out there with a sign or something, ask them what they're really trying to do. You know, some of them do have families. Some of them are trying to get some money so they can get at least a hotel room or something, or they're trying to get down the street. Everything. Sometimes that $5 to $10 may get them to where they need to go to get that help they need. You know, some of it's medical, some of it's mental, some of it's just feeding their family, feeding themselves, or, you know, maybe just helping them get on the foot. Because sometimes all it takes is one kind act. Like you mentioned the gentleman that walked and said he'd jump off the bridge if nobody said hello. It's the same thing with a veteran. A veteran is going to continue to fall further and further down that hole if nobody takes the time out. And I'm going to end this with saying it's not just veterans, it's everybody. But veterans are near and dear to me because I am one. My father was one. My step-grandfather was one. My father-in-law was one. I'm just surrounded by veterans, to include myself. Heavy Too Smooth, veteran. We had the Big Dog Tone on here, veteran.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's several people. And
Absolutely. You know,
So
and whether whoever they are, all the way they lie in unmarked graves around this country, from the Revolutionary War, from the Civil War, you know, Second World War, Mexican-American War, places like Iwo Jima, you know, Guadalcanal, Vietnam, Iraq, Fallujah. All those are worthy veterans, and they've given America what is it that we have now. So servicemen and then policemen who keep the streets safe for us. We respect you and we venerate your service, and sometimes all what they need is for us to tell them how much we appreciate what is it that they did for all of us to keep us safe. And I know that America has problems, but we need to appreciate what a blessing it is to be here, because that is why all around the world people are trying to come here, and they are storming towards America's borders. You know, I remember during COVID, one of the ways that I got a lot of people to vaccinate, you know, they tell me they don't trust the vaccine. And I said, do you know anybody from Latin America or Africa or even the Far East, you know? And I say, when you see them, ask them how the vaccine is available in their country. There were people from India and the Middle East and Latin America who were buying tickets for their relatives to come and visit so they could get vaccines here. I said, and yet here they were begging people to come get the vaccine. You know, so America is not perfect, but there are a lot of things that are not that bad here.
right. Okay, Heavy, you got any more questions for Dr. Kennedy?
No. I don't have no.
Got anything else you'd like to add, Dr. Kennedy?
Thank you for the opportunity, and whenever, what do they call it, time permits, I'll be very happy to come here. We can talk about education and how people can make their lives better. We can talk about sexually transmitted diseases, you know, can talk about breakdown in our communities. You know, all those are topics that we can talk about. So today I am thankful for this opportunity to talk to you all, and I hope everybody listening has a good evening.
All right, and I definitely appreciate you, Dr. Kennedy, for taking your time out to come out and bless us with all your knowledge and
Yes,
let
sir.
us know some things. It's definitely appreciated. And with that, y'all, as you can see, Fat Family Unscripted is not just about music. We're about entrepreneurs. We're about doctors. We're about helping the community. If you got questions, mental health questions, medical questions, anything like that, please feel free to put it in the comments. Hit us up in our inbox. We will get with Dr. Kennedy. He's already said he's willing to come back. And we're more than willing to bring him back because this is already his second time here. We haven't even been rocking that long, and Dr. Kennedy, he is a return guest. And he brings lots of knowledge, lots of introspective. So with that, we're going to sign off. Corona Corleone behind the camera this time around.
Yeah.
My man Heavy Too Smooth.
Reach out
Defend
and
itself,
touch
strength and honor.
somebody.
Dr. Kennedy. And I'm your boy Steve Cherokee. Y'all have a good night.
I'm not saying the church song.
Reach
Hate on me, hate on me.
Talking down.
Hate on me,
Like, why you know my name, man? Like, I
hate
don't
on
even
me,
speak on you.
hate on me. Hate, why you people wanna hate though? Yeah, I see the hate up in your face. I'ma keep on being real, and be myself and then I chill. Why do people wanna hate though? Yeah, I see the hate up in your face. Yeah, I'ma keep on being real, and be myself and then I chill. If you don't like me, give it down what they said. I'm Corleone, bitch, I'ma keep on making bread. All the McKean, man, a nigga never scared. I ain't never ran from no nigga, so a nigga never fled. Hey, I can see that shit up in your face. You ain't no me to ball, but a nigga got the weight. Stay, the only thing that got up on my plate. Got to watch these niggas, cause these niggas is some state. At the same time, watch out for the jakes. I'm chasing this money, shit, I'm trying to make